Good afternoon, and thank you for joining. Today's session will be dedicated to the latest release in the automated campaign tool. This release is related specifically to the contact management system of the site. If you are not familiar with the automated campaign tool, I would recommend visiting Resource Center and viewing the previous trainings to this system as we recently revamped it. So hopefully some of you have seen it either by being an active user or perhaps at the latest Focus conference. So real quick summary, the automated campaign tool itself is a tool that you can do ongoing marketing to prospects and clients, and it's multi-channel, so there can be email, there can be social, and even some tangible print distribution. Now, how to access the automated campaign tool is through the Marketing on Demand platform, which is where you may go to order anything from your account opening packets, business cards. Along the top navigation, which this is all outlined in that previous training, by the way, you click the link of Automated Campaign Tool, and that will bring you to this screen here. Now, the focus of today, again, is on the contact management system. So many of the other features of the site we're not going to touch on. So if you are coming into this as a brand new user of the system, I would recommend that you visit those other pre-recorded trainings or reach out to our support team to get your account set up, and then you can start to reap the benefits of this new enhancement. So through collaboration with the field as well as with a lot of the teammates, we have identified some major areas for improvement, and this will not be the last of them. We look to continue to make this a better and more robust solution, but we're really excited about the functionality that we've introduced today. So to get into the contacts portion, same as if you're an existing user of the site, you go to My Contacts. What you'll notice as this page populates is the top component of the page that kind of gives you a high-level summary of what each profile can have, all of that good stuff, as well as a CSV template has remained pretty much unchanged. This is what looks a little bit different to you. Now, we've added a handful of features that I'm going to walk you through, but I did want to point out the gate that all of this, what I call gibberish, is because I am a test account and I am the one in here testing all these various features. So a lot of this in here is just me doing random things. Your data will, of course, be a lot cleaner. But let's start with to leverage these new features and functionality, we've got to get contacts into the system. Now, we've learned that a lot of you are adding contacts by a CSV upload. So that would be an upload contact list. You would maybe pull data from a third-party source, you'd put it into a spreadsheet, map the columns properly, and then you'd upload it into the system. Or we've also learned that many of you are adding a new contact simply by filling all of the information out. And then what's really cool is with the introduction of tags, which I'll spend more time on later, you can take tags that you've created. So perhaps one of your tags is golfer. You could then say, yeah, I've added everything about this contact, but I want to tag them as a golfer. So when you go through and do some additional segmentation and list building, you can do so in a way that you've never been able to do before. Now, as I talk about this, I know we're starting to get into the space of, well, this feels a little bit like a CRM. I want to be very clear that this by no means is meant to be a replacement to your CRM. The CRM is, I'm sure, where a lot of you live and breathe, but with the old iteration of the tool, you didn't have the option to kind of create these groups and tags once you had contacts in the system. So we knew that that was a big need, and that was something that didn't exist before. So you were kind of either using a CRM to pull in that group and information, or you were doing an import multiple times. You were importing them and trying to make groups, and it worked, but not very well. So what I want to walk you through are these features, of course, but I did want to point out that the relationships between the CRMs are not going to remain always as is. We are in constant communication with both parties and many more to say, how do we make the connection between the two systems better? So we look to provide more and more updates to that as some of those things come to fruition. But what you'll see here is a list of all the contacts you have in the system. You can even sort them by name and email and birth date, client anniversary, or tags that you've added into the system. Then you've got some actions. You can edit the contact. You might want to add a tag to them, change something. You can see your activity, And then you can, of course, delete the record in its entirety, which is going to delete it from our system, not from your CRM, if that is where you pulled the data from. But one of the things I wanted to show you that I felt was kind of cool is you can actually search by contacts. So I'm going to search just my name. And the reason I do this is I know that you guys can leverage the metrics portion of the site, which is going to tell you how your campaigns are performing, all of that good stuff. But what it doesn't do, that maybe I feel this way because it's something that I often do in my practice, is you might want to know, okay, I've got a top tier prospect or maybe an A client. Let's pretend that client is Dan. You might want to go in and go, okay, what have I done with Dan through this system? So I'm going to go to my name and then I'm going to click contact activity. And this is getting a little bit more granular as to, metrics per record versus, again, at the campaign level. But what's really cool is I go into that record and it shows that, and again, this is all just dummy data, but it says that I have sent out an email. It shows that I haven't opened it because, again, I'm sending them to myself. But then it would show you, did somebody click a link? Did somebody, was it marked as spam? Was it a hard bounce, soft bounce? All of that good stuff. And it's giving you an activity timeline through a period of time. So I think that this will be helpful to some of you. I don't know if all of you will use this in this manner. You may want to measure things at the campaign level, which again, using metrics in the reporting is in that previous training. But I thought this was kind of a cool feature, as well as I could see what associated groups that I'm assigned to, and then I could view my profile. And when I say I shouldn't say that because I'm the person doing the demo, but it will tell you everything about that contact record. And again, I'm using it as to myself. So major enhancements there. I think that that's a really easy, nice to use feature. It tells me, more and more detail. But I'm going to go back to viewing all of the contacts. And I'm not going to, I'm trying to do my best to not spend a ton of time here because I think where the magic comes is during the launching the campaign sequence. But quick little things. If you wanted to create groups, you can do that now. You've got a massive database of contacts in here. You go over to groups, and this is where you'll be able to, and you'll probably see with mine when this loads that I've got, an infinite amount of just test groups, but one of them I've got affluent men. It shows me the date that I've created the group. I don't have any contacts added in there yet, but I did that just for purposes of the demonstration. Now I can edit the group. I can add contacts to the group right on the fly. So if I've created a group, and I might say, okay, now I can actually start adding people to it. And as I type, what's really cool is I can go, yeah, I'm going to add all of these people to that group. And then add, it's going to validate, and you could delete them out of the group if you'd like. Otherwise, you can save. And now those folks are added to the group. So really, really cool feature there. The editing the group is pretty self-explanatory. What I think is kind of neat is you can actually download a CSV of everybody you've added to that group. And then of course you can trash the group. Now I want to be clear, this action is deleting the group. It is not deleting the contacts out of the system. As you can see, now that my screen refreshed, those 5 people I added are in there. I could download a CSV file of all of them. But just so you guys can see visually how this works, adding a group is really easy. You just title your group name, so this could be anything under the sun. So test. Then you can set conditions. Where it may gather information throughout the system already. So you could say I want it to be company, state, zip, gender, years married. You can add additional conditions. This is getting very granular. And then you can add rules to the conditions. What I have found to be the most helpful is, and again, this is just how my brain works, is I actually create groups based on tags that I've created. You can do it in the reverse order, whichever is fine. And then, of course, you've got this as well, must meet all of, so just be very clear as you're reading. So you've got all, any. So again, you can get super granular when you're creating these groups and tags, and I just recommend that you take some time to play around with it because it's pretty cool at just how segmented you can get. You can get to the point of, I want all men that, and then you could have conditions apply that are men that are single. Okay, out of those men that are single, which ones are divorced? And I mean, you can keep going and going and going. Based on my experience of what's being used in the system today, it may be a bit of time before you're leveraging all of that data, but the purpose of why I show some of this granularity is we look to add more and more campaigns and amazing content by segment to the tool. So this will just help aid in making sure your marketing efforts are successful. Tags, one of the easy things to do, and again, I will show you where this comes into play, but I've got all these tags. Adding a tag is easy. I'm going to go in there and create a tag and just say, I don't know, we keep using golf, so golf. That means that I golf with them, that's a tag. Now, if I go back, so I've created this tag, and it might be a duplicate, I might get an error. No. So if I go back to my contacts now, and again, I apologize for getting so granular, but if I click on any one of these random contacts or just hit edit, what it will allow me to do is I can go in now and say, okay, this person, yeah, we've met out on the golf course. I've met them before. I'm going to add the tag, add it, and then you can add some notes, save. Now I'm added back into the group. And because I'm using my demo account, guys, I continuously will get logged out throughout this period just for our security, because I'm not a real advisor. I am doing this not through your typical SSO. But now you've at least seen how to do, you've got the basics, right? You can add tags, you can actually create groups. For me personally, like I said before, my brain operates one way. I actually found this to be helpful. If you go under support, frequently asked questions, contacts, what is a tag? What is a group? The description that the teams put in place makes sense to me. So I'm not going to read this verbatim. You guys can do so at your own. But you saw kind of how I used it. Doesn't necessarily have to be that way, but you can use it this way as well. So the fun part, when I get into actually launching a campaign library, I'm picking random stuff for the purposes of this demonstration. I'm trying to be mindful of those of you who have already sat through this. Okay, it's telling me what the campaign is. Great, no problem. Now I go through the customization process. I'm going to send it from my persona, signature block. I'm going to title it. Again, stuff that you guys have seen before. Next, it's telling me what's in the campaign. Next, it's going to show me a preview of the campaign. I can send a test to myself. Again, I don't want to bore too much of you that have already seen this before, but here's where we get into the fun stuff. Now you've created this campaign, you're going to launch it. Now you've got to add contacts to it. So you can search by group name, so that's where that comes into play. You could have had a group that said golfers if you wanted. I decided to create a group for men and then add a tag for golfers. You can do it either which way, whatever way makes the most sense for you in your practice. You can do a detailed contact search where, as you can see here, search for term name, whatever. I might say, you know what, I want to build a list for people that live in the state of Minnesota because it's going to be cold up there soon, and I'm going to send them a nice warm holiday greeting card at the end of the year. It's actually going and looking through my entire database, which is absolutely massive, and it's going to display to me every contact record that lives in the state of Minnesota. And this can be used, I mean, you can do it by email, so perhaps there was like an @ domain that you wanted to use, or people in a company that you're familiar with. You can, of course, do it by name, and I believe you could even type in the initials MN or the state name. It's really how the system is set up. And then you can do by search tag name. So all of the tags that I've put into the system are going to show up. So easy, makes it very straightforward. We'll just, for purposes of this, hit retirement, and that would be everybody that I have tagged with this retirement flag, which could mean nothing. This is something that I typed in. So this retirement flag could be, I don't know, something that I created that says these individuals are nearing the age of retirement, what have you. And then once you go to the next step, it's going to send contacts to those records. So what I love about this is, again, same with groups. We go down the groups. We've got all the groups that I've created. You saw my one, so I've got affluent men. Now it's like, all right, I'm going to send contacts to everybody that is affluent and male. And this could be the reverse, affluent women, whatever the metrics or the segmentation you're chasing, you now have the ability to do so. And in that search by contact component, as you can see, they'll display everything that is available to you, and there's nothing in there, so that won't allow you to go past that page. Search by tag name, drop downs. Very, very straightforward, very, very easy. I personally have had more success doing by like name and things of that nature versus by tag name. So it's really up to you on how you have this set up. But you know what? For purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to just select a random one and then go to the next step. It's going to just quickly remind me which elements are going out. Next step, ready to launch. Now, I have a tag retirement, and because I don't have like real contact records in the system, you'll notice there's no reference to how many recipients are going to be in there. But just pay attention to this right-hand side. We did mention this in our original training, but it kind of builds everything on the fly. So it reminds you, okay, what did you title your campaign? Who is it sending it from? The email name, all of that good stuff, because I find that to be equally important as we start clicking through this, as well as it goes pretty fast. But then you're done, you can launch campaign. So in summary, what we've done here is under the My Contacts, we have made it easier for you to create groups. We've made it easier for you to assign tags, because those two things did not exist before. And then we've given you more features to view these records, edit them, and even view and segment them by some key pieces of information that we think are important. And as you saw, that search functionality works really slick, really well. And if it wasn't for how much data I had in the system, as you saw, that was a very minimal delay, it would go even faster. But I have so many people in here because I am the demo account that you might get a loading, but otherwise very, very easy. And then let's say you wanted to delete people out. You can actually select multiple, and you'll notice that button turns to color, because now I've got people selected, and you can go through and delete the folks that you've selected out of the system. So if you find that you've got too many contacts in, maybe from a previous upload that you have uploaded, I don't know, multiple in there, and you haven't used deduping functionality or maybe modified names, this is a great way for you to kind of clean up what's in there, because a friendly reminder, each profile is allocated 1,500 contacts at no cost. Before it was 500, so we want to give you an easy option to remove them out of the system, because if you do want to exceed that 1,500 per profile, we do have options for you as far as monthly pricing. We did put a 20,000 cap just to protect you in the event that you accidentally hit a import all or something for some of our larger institution clients that may be managing multiple advisors, all sorts of fun stuff. So that's all in there. But we really do look forward to feedback. I will tell you right out of the gate, if there are little things that you stumble upon, we are definitely open to feedback. We are open to criticism as well, because we want to make this as best as it is, best as possible for you. And this isn't the last iteration, right? I mean, as we learn more, as we hear more, as we're provided with use cases and roundtables, we want to make this better and better and better. So just be on the lookout for continued communication. One thing I wanted to pull up is, again, just as a quick reminder, support, amazing list of FAQs that are broken down properly, that will run through a lot more in detail what I've discussed in that capacity. But the other thing I wanted to point out is we have additional support for you. Now, I'm going to leave this up on screen just for a moment, and let me see if I can get this in window for you. I mentioned before, you can of course contact the general MOD support, which is at the footer of these pages. It's under the support tab. It's on Marketing on Demand, and that's what's displayed here at the top. And if it's for the automated campaign tool specifically, just do me a favor and mention that, because I want to make sure that you get efficient help right out of the gate, whereas the Marketing on Demand staff, although they can answer general questions, if you've got some really specific stuff, adding groups and tags and imports, we do have some specialists that are dedicated to the tool. Now, if you're looking for a much more like comprehensive marketing conversation or detailed walkthrough how to best leverage this in your practice, the Marketing Solutions Center, who you may be familiar with, is a great resource. I'll leave their information up here as well if you don't already have it. But either of those, and I'll tell you what, if you contact the support at lplmod.com and the question is better suited for the Marketing Solutions Center, we will make sure to get you to the right place. So I really do appreciate you guys taking time to watch this. We're very, very excited about it. We know that the contact section of the previous iteration had a lot to be desired. We hope that we've captured not all, but a lot of the great feedback that you've all had. And I just want you to know that we're not done. We want to make sure to continue to make this better, just like any of the technology products out there. They're living, they're breathing, and we'll have more and more updates. So with that, I thank you sincerely for your time, as well as for being willing to give this tool a try, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.